This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV. The holidays can be a marathon of travel and family gatherings, so be sure to stay hydrated through it all with Liquid IV.
One stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone and gives you 8 vitamins and nutrients, plus 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks so you can stay hydrated for all the road trips, get-togethers, and parties this holiday season.
So tear, pour, and live more and stay hydrated through the holidays with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. This episode of Going in Raw is also sponsored by Aura Frames. From big events to life's everyday moments, Aura Frames makes it easy to upload unlimited photos directly from your phone so your favorite memories are always within view.
Named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter, Aura Frames can be preloaded and personalized to make a truly unforgettable gift this holiday season.
So save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code RAW at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code RAW. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking WWE RAW, the last one before Saturday night's main event. We will be watching it live this Saturday. Be sure to join us for that. We'll be doing our live review right afterwards. But this is Monday Night Raw. We're talking about the New Day. How about the Boo Day, Larson? Because they got booed out of the place.
Heat.
Oh, so much heat, Larson.
You know
So
what I
much
love
heat.
about this?
What?
They don't think they did anything wrong.
Yeah, that's the best kind of heel right there, man.
They think they're completely in the right here. So they show up to open Raw, and they're trying to say hi to people who work backstage, expecting everything to be how it was.
Yep.
Everybody cool with them.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And no one's cool with them.
Nope.
Everybody's angry because
Yeah.
of what they did last week.
Well,
And
yeah.
they're confused about why that's the case.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the heel turn and then suddenly being like evil,
Yeah.
which in the history of wrestling happens way too often. They made their decision last week, but they think life goes on as it would before last week. And it's not the case. There's consequences for how they treated Big E.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds in the weeks ahead.
I'm really curious as to what the pitch was for their first segment post, last week's awesome evisceration of Big E. Because we have no idea where this is going, what's next. We have no idea what they were going to say last night. I'm still curious as to know if they went out there and got a normal response. If they had, I assume they had some sort of promo lined up. Maybe they knew that they would get sort of Dominic Mysterio levels of heat. I've seen it be referred to online as Elias heat, referring to the I think it was in Seattle.
It was in Seattle. Him and Kevin Owens in the ring talking crap about the Sonics leaving. Yeah,
That's right. Just huge nuclear heat, right?
Oh.
And it was, I think, probably the most validating promo segment they could give was simply being booed out of the ring, not being allowed to say what they want to say. But you got a hint that what they had to say was, we like you just said, what do? We didn't do anything wrong. We're completely justified in how we reacted last week, and it's brought us closer. And I wonder if maybe that was going to be the premise of their promo, had they been allowed to drop one, was, look at what it's done for us. And I'm legitimately curious, within the context of the story, where the dynamic between the two characters, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, is going to go from here. Clearly they're on the same page on some level, that being rude to Big E. But being on the same page as a tag team, putting that all together is going to be interesting to see where that is at this point. But yeah, I thought that it was a completely, it was a really good crowd last night. And I thought it was a fun Raw, and I thought that was a great, just a really terrific segment. And again, to reiterate from what we said last week, being able to bring relevance to an act that really hadn't had it for a while, with one segment, with one turn, with one perfectly executed moment, it's a really wonderful thing to see in real time.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I know we've probably been asked, and we probably had conversations in years past about what they could do to actually turn New Day heel, because through the years they've gotten such goodwill with the fan base, that and people love them as individual performers and as a team, that it'd be hard to get the fans to turn against them.
Yeah.
Well, they found a way.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there and you talk a bunch of crap about E,
mm-hmm.
and basically kick him out of the group.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Dismiss the fact that he broke his neck.
Yeah. Yeah. That probably is key to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
the cheers for E last night were
they were huge. It was
super loud.
It was wild to hear the crowd trying to figure out, do we want to go with New Day sucks, or do we want to go with Big E rocks, or whatever the Big E chant was? We want E, I think it was. And there seemed to be some amount of indecision there with the crowd. But eventually they got on the same page, and they figured out when to chant New Day sucks, and they figured out when to chant, we want Big E. But it was a wildly entertaining segment, simply for, the heat and what professional wrestling at its best can really give you. That just huge crowd reaction, everybody buying into the New Day now as bad guys. Remains to be seen where it goes from here. But we did get some indication in terms of where the tag titles are going to go, which could inform us in terms of the New Day. And that is Judgment Day are being forced to defend their titles once again against the War Raiders. This time should be more of a straight up bout without the Judgment Day ancillary characters being allowed at ringside. Do you see the second time being the charm for the War Raiders, and will they be transitional champions for the New Day?
Yeah, I'm going to answer yes to both those. The only question, I guess, is how long the War Raiders will probably have those tag titles so it doesn't put forth the idea that they are transitional champions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if they have them for 3 months, have some good matches, have a number of defenses, it feels less like a transitional reign than just a short one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would imagine it's not going to be a situation where they win them and like 2 weeks later, New Day wins them. Because I feel like they're going to take their time, because that's what Triple H does, really exploring the idea that the fans view Woods and Kofi as heels, but they don't view themselves that way. Because there is some interesting stuff there potentially to mine, and how they go about doing that, if there's a story to be told, if they eventually start doing more traditionally heel things, as opposed to sticking with the idea that we're completely justified, we are good people, and we're gonna continue going on as we have been. People have turned their backs on us, as opposed to going, full on heels at this point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I still think, I know my prediction or hope, fantasy book, whatever you want to call it, was that Otis and Tozawa be somehow, some way the ones to take those titles off Judgment Day. Clearly, it's not going to happen. That being said, I do still think they would be a really good first feud for this New Day, because Otis and Tozawa are very much loved by the WWE crowd. And what better way to illustrate, to juxtapose, to counterpoint the New Day and their sort of, current philosophy versus, Otis and Tozawa, who are very much loved by the WWE fan base. I think that, they were nowhere to be found last night, so who knows if that's going to be the case Who do you think would be a good first feud to match up with the New Day?
I mean, Otis and Tozawa, as mentioned, makes a lot of sense. They were the last team to beat them. Yeah, that just makes all the sense. I don't know.
I mean, if the idea is, hey, you know what, we're on the same page now. We need to start correcting some wrongs.
Yeah.
And prove that we're intent on proving people that we're the best tag team, and we're doing everything the right way. And then they don't do everything the right way. I think it probably makes sense that since Kofi and Woods are on the same page, and Woods was the guy kind of starting to cut corners a little bit, I could see them adopting more of his philosophy about things in the ring. And so that could work against Otis and Tozawa. I think that'd be a good one. I mean, the bottom line is there isn't a lot of action in the tag team division anyways, especially on Raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's sort of even by default, the way to go. Do you think they gotta, I don't know, babyface up the War Raiders a little bit more? I mean, they're like mean Viking dudes, bikers, or whatever they are now.
Yeah, they're motorcyclists who are also Viking enthusiasts.
I feel like in terms of being, I mean, that's why I was pitching Otis and Tozawa, because what better way to break hearts than to have them have a great moment with the tag titles? The War Raiders, they've been, dude's been gone for a long time. They came back not really as characters that people seem to be.
I think what you're trying to say is they don't generate a lot of fan response.
Nobody really gives a shit about them. And I know they've got they have their support. I've seen plenty of people say, Steve, why are you down on the War Raiders?
And that doesn't mean they're not great wrestlers and a fun tag team.
They're a fun tag team. Yeah.
It's more of the issue with that falls on creative in terms of getting them involved in interesting stories so fans are invested in their journey.
If this was the War Raiders back when they were doing comedic segments with the Street Profits, that's a bit different when Ivar was showing like comedic sides and stuff like that. Yeah. But they're kind of a different crew now. But that being said, they're much more serious. You could take them a lot more serious in the ring than Otis and Tozawa.
Yeah.
And maybe they want something, the New Day, if the New Day are going to get those tag titles, they would want something more, they'd want more adversity for the New Day in getting those tag titles to show
steeper
what
odds,
they
you mean. Steeper odds.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it really wouldn't be that with Otis and Tozawa. That's kind of a,
they don't win a whole lot.
They don't. That was an easy day for the easy day for the New Day.
Kind of.
Exactly.
Kind of.
So let's go ahead and dive into what the
let's
actual
dive into this segment because maybe
yeah.
we'll think of some other stuff. So there's a recap about halfway through the show of what happened last week, and then self-righteous Cody Rhodes walks out of Adam Pearce's office, maybe trying to get himself to Raw in this transfer window situation.
Mm-hmm.
Walks out of Pearce's office right as the New Day walks by. And Cody says to him, I've known you both for a very long time. He says, including you, Woods, since we were kids. You both should be ashamed of yourself. So then he walks off.
And this was great, too, because Woods laughs and says, funny coming from that guy. The indication, because he said something about him in high school, how the insinuation when he was an asshole in high school.
So I saw this morning Cody Rhodes tell the story of this.
Oh.
So they both went to the same high school, and I guess they were wrestling against each other. I think that's the details. Cody beat him. So I guess somewhere later in the school year, Cody was going bowling, and he was dating a girl that Woods used to date.
Oh.
And so he said I don't remember the exact order of events, but the details were he went up to Woods and said, I beat you. And then walked away and then bowled a strike. Or the strike made it come first.
That's amazing.
And
That's
then walked
great.
up to Woods and said, I beat you.
Wow. That's awesome.
But yeah, the insinuation from Woods' response to that was that Cody's a jerk.
Yeah. So backstage, we've got a little interview with Kathy. She asked about last week. And she calls it out like it was. You guys bonded over, eviscerating Big E. And Kobe says, hey, you know what? You're supposed to be neutral. Why would you ask a question like that? And Woods says, look, clearly this is biased. We're going to talk to everyone who matters out there. So he insists that he becomes cameraman Woods. So he takes the camera. This is a great little inventive bit. And he says, give me the camera. I don't care if you're John Cena's little friend. Give me the damn camera. So it was Stu. And so he grabs the camera. Woods follows Kofi with the camera. No music. A chorus of boos. So they go out there. Eventually, Woods puts the camera on the steps, looks at it, says, "What did we do?" Then he gets in the ring, grabs the mic. Kofi's like, no. You mean to tell me after 10 years of positivity that we've given you, you're mad over one day? Woods says, "We came out here. We didn't even do anything to E." So they keep on. Kofi says, "We could have taken a steel chair to E's back.
Said we could have taken a sledgehammer."
Yeah. And Woods is like, you know what? We're gonna try to come out here, and it's just endless. The crowd is just booing the shit out of them. So they just leave. That's all they can do. They just
and the crowd pops huge when they leave the ring.
Yeah. It was an awesome segment. And the New Day just feel like big stars again. They really do. Hey, let me ask you something real quick about Cody. The self-righteousness.
Yeah.
Triple H seems to prefer his good guys as like self-righteous pricks.
Well, if you look across the roster, there's a lot of characters who are self-righteous.
Look at Sami. He's insufferable last night. Oh,
yeah.
So irritating.
Look at Drew McIntyre, self-righteous.
Yeah, but Drew's a bad guy. Like that's kind of expected.
The board.
Okay, sure, yeah. But like with his good guys too.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like that's not an endearing quality.
No, not very often, no.
But I like that it's complex. I like that because otherwise it's going to get kind of boring.
I mean, how many years were we bemoaning the fact that the WWE baby faces were generic, feckless, reactionary, and stood around and smiled all the time.
Doormats.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Finn Balor for years. He had that stupid smiling gimmick. Like, what was that shit? Boy, that was horrible. Yeah. We're going to talk about the budding CM Punk Seth Rollins rivalry here in just a second, Larson. But we've got a couple of sponsors this week for Going in Raw. So let's go ahead and talk about them first.
All right, let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV, Steve. The holiday season could be a real whirlwind with all the travel and family gatherings we usually do this time of year. It's easy to forget to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, man, that's exactly why I always keep Liquid IV on hand so I can stay hydrated no matter what the holiday season can bring. One season of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone and gives you 8 vitamins and nutrients, plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink.
Speaking of seasons, our never-ending basketball season is still in full swing, and Liquid IV is an essential part of our semi-weekly hoops contest. I honestly don't know how I could keep draining half-court shots, hit 2 of them yesterday, twice a week, every week, without Liquid IV.
So tear, pour, and live more and stay hydrated through the holidays with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Aura Frames. Steve, I take quite a few pictures on this phone of mine here, and yet those pictures just seem like they're stuck on the camera roll. And when I want to look at them or share them with family, I spend a bunch of time scrolling through them all and searching for what I'm trying to find. It takes forever.
Yeah, you got like thousands and thousands of photos on your phone. How are you supposed to find anything? Well, if you're looking for an easy way to share those pictures, man, check out Aura Frames. Aura makes it easy to upload unlimited photos directly from your phone so your favorite memories are always within view. I've got one over there on my dog's altar. I've got one later on today, maybe tomorrow. I got another Aura frame. I'm going to load that up with pictures of me for my mom as her holiday gift. She doesn't watch this show. She doesn't know that I'm doing this. So nobody tell mama here that I'm going to be doing this. And I've got a sister, she ain't going to be on this thing. It's just going to be me, maybe my dog, maybe my cat. I don't know, but I'm going to load up a ton of pictures, definitely of me smiling, winking, maybe I've got a picture. I don't know. I remember one time I busted my foot on the little door jamb over there and my toe split in half. I might take a picture and put that on there.
Why would you put that on there?
I don't know, just to throw her off a little bit. You know, she's old. She's got to stay on her toes, man, so to speak. Anyways, that's what I'm going to do with it. But you can personalize and preload whatever you want on an Aura frame, either filled with photos of life's huge milestones, like busting your toe, or pictures of fun everyday moments, not busting your toe. That really hurt. Was not fun. Could be an unforgettable gift either way.
So save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com and get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames by using code RAW at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code RAW. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, that cat was in here earlier, just over there on the back over there. And then I was looking at one of the videos, because you can load up videos on the Aura frames too.
Yeah, you mentioned that, yeah.
And it was like Gypsy's first day with us like a million years ago.
Wow.
And I just hit the little button on the top and it started playing. I looked down at the cat. I said, "You'll never be like her." Yeah.
Well, I mean, one's a dog, one's a cat, so I guess there's...
Actually, but I meant metaphorically.
No, I know what you meant.
In my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she went...
Well, that's the appropriate response.
Yeah. Have I shown... This is messed up. Have I shown you my hand? Because
it's always all tore up.
We roughhouse.
Look at that.
Look at that. She scratches the crap out of me. It's a lot of fun though. We're getting along fine. It's great. Yeah, there's that. Also, of course, this past weekend, I know a lot of people are curious about this. Action Coast Wrestling. I went there. Oh my God. You remember Trip Rogers had this freaking he put his East Bay Championship on the line against Magnum AD, but if he lost it, he'd skedaddle out of town.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I want to see this guy get vaporized. It's like on Star Trek. Remember that one episode where they annihilate that dude who's got an alien in him and his head explodes?
That's one of the season 1 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty graphic for syndicated television.
That's basically what happened to Trip. Wow. Magnum just completely annihilated this guy. It was kind of awesome to see. And so Trip is now out. He's been fired. That's how we fire people. Just put Magnum on him. But this dude you would have loved this. And I'm sad that you weren't there. I know you had family obligations, but Trip had his chest absolutely annihilated. Chopped.
I saw a picture of what appeared to be you chopping him.
I even got to chop him.
Double overhand chest.
So Magnum was dog walking this dude all over the place.
Yeah.
And he brings him over to me and he's like, "Steve from Going in Raw, go ahead and chop this guy." Larson, I didn't realize the power I have in this hand of mine. You
got some giant soup spoons there, Steve.
I don't, man. My hands are kind of smallish.
Actually, you do have kind of smaller hands. Yeah,
your hands
are smaller than mine, yeah.
Yeah. But the power within these hands.
Yeah.
This shit, I did not mean to go this hard on Trip. I really didn't.
Well, it's the subconscious coming through because he had your water bottle for like 4 years.
Got it back.
And he got it back.
Yeah. But I got the entire thing on video. I'm probably gonna do like a Wrestle Juice video on it. You can check out Action Coast Wrestling is on Instagram as well. I don't know. Their next show I think is, I want to say it's running against whatever the next WWE show. I think it's running against Elimination Chamber. So if you don't want to check that out, and you're in the Bay Area here in California, near Pacheco, that's where you can go check the show out. I think Hot Stuff is the next one. I don't know what it is. We're running this thing, but it's kind of just it's on autopilot basically.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways,
we should also talk about a current predictions challenge going through the month of December.
Oh, dude,
we just got through deadline.
Yeah.
Show the people the hat, Steve.
Well, I'm going to show something that evidently I have no chance at winning whatsoever. It's the latest Big Blue Predictions Championship hat. I laid a turd at deadline in the predictions challenge, but it's only one challenge of 3 for the month of December. And whoever in the end ends up with the most points will get this Big Blue hat. From what I understand, Larson, you're in a pretty decent position right now.
1 point off the lead.
Wow. All right, man. Well, hopefully you don't blow that lead. We've got.
Well, I mean, I'm not in the lead. I'm 1 point off, but I probably will. I'll probably
lead above 200 other friendos, anyways, or however many people are participating. But yeah, man, you can get your chance at this Big Blue hat through the predictions challenge. You can sign up right now. At patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Just click on Friendo Club Setup. It's $5 a month, or you can click join right here, youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Again, it's $5 a month. You get to participate in the Big Blue Predictions Challenge, get all of our old bonus episodes, and you get question threads for all of our recap episodes. But really, the Big Blue Predictions hat, and every month we're going to have a different design for the hat. Each one is going to be unique in 2025. So pretty exciting stuff here at Going in Raw.
Indeed.
So yeah, check that out.
One last thing before we get back to Raw. YouTube likes the engagement, so if you could, hit that like button.
Oh yeah.
Smash that like button, as long as it's an odd number of times. Second, if you're watching, especially on VOD, leave a comment. The algorithm likes comments. So please, leave a comment.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about the CM Punk stuff. Because him and Seth Rollins obviously are beginning a bit of a rivalry here, a feud, if you will, a program perhaps. And we had two talkie segments. One was a sit-down interview with CM Punk, and then another one was a promo with Seth Rollins. And I'm curious to get your thoughts about this. We'll just go through what was said first.
Sure.
And then we can dive into our thoughts about it. So first up was the interview with Punk. He says he's asked about the Paul Heyman favor, and he says, "Nah, that's a personal thing. We go back many years. I can't do that." And then she says, "Okay, well, let's talk about Seth Rollins. You say you didn't want any part of him, but he wants a part of you." And Punk says, "I think it's no secret. I won't shy away from a fight, but when it comes to his hatred, I'm more confused. I don't hate him at all. But to understand, you got to talk about history." He says, a 16-year-old Seth Rollins came up to me and asked CM Punk to train him for free. And I'm thinking to myself, Seth was 16. Nobody has money at 16 years old. CM Punk, it was 2002. It's not like he had a ton of money either. So I kind of see it from both angles here. He says, but that entitlement has carried over into adult Seth, who wants to be the greatest. But I remember when he was top 10 to be fired from this place, but I shielded him from that.
Hold on a second. Let me interject here real quick.
Yeah.
Like right before Seth joins the Shield, he was NXT champion. He was not in danger of being fired.
And he was NXT champion very quickly after getting hired. So that really doesn't... That really doesn't add up.
Least, no.
That does not. Okay. Then he says, if I had to live in my shadow, I'd hate me too. He says, everything he did, I've done better, and I did it before he got here. And I didn't do it for a thank you. And in my absence, he did a great job holding it down. But the starter's back. The second string guy has to sit back down on the bench. So we get Seth Rollins. He says, man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Wichita, give it up for CM Punk, because he knows that they're going to start with the CM Punk chants. And of course they do. He says, CM Punk, when your days are done, he's got a career as a politician. He says, that right there, that was a masterclass in spinning the truth. You take a little truth and you play the victim, and CM Punk has done that his entire life. He's a fraud, a con man. He says, you want the truth about me and Punk? Oh, he was right. I did go to him to get trained. He was one of the best. I looked up to him. He helped me get my foot in the door in WWE, no doubt. He says, I respected CM Punk. We were friends. And if the story ended there, why does Seth hate Punk so much? But the part he left out was, I'll tell you why. When Punk walked out 11 years ago, I called him and I texted him. I was a friend because I respected him. You know what I got? Nothing. I got ghosted. And it wasn't just me. It was every person who worked for this company. If you can quit your dream job and your priorities didn't line up with CM Punk, you were evil. If the story ended there, okay, but that's not what happened. The next 10 years, all he did was tear this company down. He talked as much crap as he could. You know why he finally walked back? Because he failed at everything else, burned every bridge, and the money was right. And when he said that, people were like, boo, and they started chanting his name. So Seth
yeah, I know, because he continues on here about, he kept on trying to tear this company down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, come on, Seth, that's not going to get the fans behind you. Honestly, it's not.
We're going to talk about that in depth here in just a second. He concludes, he says, I wanted to be just like CM Punk, but somewhere along the way, I found out he was a fraud and wanted to be better, and I was. Everything he did in this ring, I did twice. I did the one thing he could never do, main event WrestleMania. So Sean Lindsay here in YouTube chat says Seth did say in an interview he was close to being fired. So apparently that was something that's true there. So what do you make of the 2 points of view with CM Punk and Seth Rollins here?
I feel like Seth should have stuck with, "Hey, we were friends." I think people would relate to the idea of a friend turning their back on somebody more so than dumping on the company. Now I know WB, there's a lot of people, especially pay attention to social media, that they will go all out to defend WWE. That's on internet. The crowd, generally speaking, if you want to push a story and try to angle somebody to be not such a good person, turn the back on friends is be more effective than they tried to bash this company. So from that perspective, and I know Seth, that's kind of his thing is, number one cheerleader for WWE. We've seen that for years. So I get it, but I just didn't think something about Seth's delivery too last night seemed a little aloof.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, like even him coming to the ring, I know he's doing the dance and everything, but something just seemed a little off to me. Like he spoke slightly quieter.
I wonder because my question was going to be, do you think they're angling him for a bit of a heel turn?
That could be.
And within the context of Triple H heel turns, it's like Drew McIntyre. He's a bad guy, but he's got really good reasons for being a bad guy. With Seth Rollins, I mean, it could be, I don't know. You could do the cheesy thing of, oh, you guys used to chant my song, but now when I come out, you just chant for CM Punk, a guy who was gone forever while I was here, breaking myself for you people. I think that'd be kind of a cheesy way to go, to be honest with you, because we've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But regardless of how they do it, Punk is the most popular guy, one of the most popular guys in the company. And that crowd they do not give a shit that he left for 10 years. They are so happy to have him back.
Yep.
And so him being gone for 10 years, running down the company, when it was kind of like, of course he's going to run down the company because look at what they did to him and look at how Vince McMahon treated him. Mm-hmm. So him running down the company, Seth carrying water for WWE, that's not the most convincing argument. This is the thing that I did like kind of a reaction video to this on WrestleJuice, and everything right now in WWE, for the most part, has a story that kicked off with, as you know, in writing circles, an inciting incident, right?
Yep.
Something sparked it. Even the feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, whether it was, CM Punk's mere arrival and Drew getting pissed off at that, but more specifically, the Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre injured CM Punk. CM Punk, I think, was the guy that eliminated Drew McIntyre. Mm-hmm. And so you combine that with Drew's mounting insecurities over the everybody teaming or everybody being cool with Roman Reigns type stuff. So there was stuff that just one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. I hope that they introduce an actual plot point here.
Yeah.
Because the motivation on the guy who's instigating this, Seth Rollins, is like non-existent. Well, he didn't call me when he left. That's weak.
It is, but it's funny throughout all that, he didn't mention once that Punk teamed with Roman. Last night, he didn't mention it.
I thought, no, you're right. And I wonder, it's like the one thing that I'd speculated on that was maybe that would have been the case if Reed didn't get injured and they would have used Reed as somewhat of a plot device, if you will, to get these two into like a feud with a story. But without Reed's presence, it's harder to do that. But you kind of don't need his presence to do that because it's done. He did it. He was like, look, he laid me out. But even that, I mean, yeah, you could totally work with that. You could do something with that.
I mean, didn't Punk hit Seth with the GTS when Seth was guest ref for the match against Drew?
Yeah.
No mention of that.
Yeah.
If you want more, if you want more concrete, especially recent things, I mean, I understand, you think someone's your friend and they don't return your call. I understand why you might carry a bit of a grudge, but, after 10 years.
That's a get over it. Said you're an adult at this point,
Yeah.
like who cares?
And again, it's a situation where Punk was talking trash about the company, where if you think about it from his perspective, it makes complete sense. Again, that's something that's like, all right, well, you get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You need something a little more tangible, more recent. That the crowd has witnessed in its recent history. To, like, you could say, yeah, I really care for CM Punk. I can tell you why, but what really sticks in my craw? This.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
You need something that we have witnessed.
Now, my guess on this is there will be, because here's the thing, we are still 5 months out from WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a match there. There's going to be other matches preceding that. WrestleMania has got to be, I don't know about a blow off, but it's got to be a tie. You would think it's at least a title match.
Yeah.
I would think that once you get the title involved, or once you get larger stakes involved, which is going to be the WrestleMania main event, night one main event. Once you get that involved, then you'll start seeing more of the escalation. One thing leads to another, another. And maybe at this point, it'll simply be, CM Punk will say, okay, Seth, fine. First episode, Raw, Netflix, let out whatever steam, whatever issues you have with me, get them out there, and you and I are done. But the problem therein becomes, well, maybe that becomes for a number one contendership. Maybe that becomes, somebody gets screwed out of that match because their first match is not going to go down clean.
It should be Seth beating CM Punk, and CM Punk's, no, this isn't sit right with me.
That could be as well. Yeah, that could be too. If CM Punk is looking past Seth Rollins and he can't get past Seth Rollins, that could be it as well. In which case, you're focusing the feud based on what happens in the ring, and I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm looking at what Seth has to say, and I'm like, buddy, you ain't got much of a case there. Now, if it's simply, you hate this guy, but like, why do you hate this guy? The reasons are kind of petty. The reasons are not justifiable.
If it's the situation where I've long harbored a grudge against CM Punk for these reasons, and through that prism, I see him do this, this, and this. All right, that makes more sense. But just to be like, oh, I've held a grudge against this guy for 10 years. I don't like him. That for that reason, I want to beat him up.
Just admit that you're petty.
It justifies a feud, but it's not much of a story.
It's not, right, exactly, yeah.
And considering, by and large, well, if this is going to be a match if it's going to go to WrestleMania, and if it's going to be potentially the main event of night one, you need to give me a story. Just putting them in situations where they can talk crap to each other about how much they don't like each other, and then match happens. For a Mania main event, for me, that's not enough. You can do that on a B-level pay-per-view, as we've seen with a lot of Cody feuds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah.
There's one issue, and they just focus on that one issue, as opposed to like what they're doing now with Kevin Owens. There's actually a story being told.
Mm-hmm, sure.
But a lot of it, like the feud with AJ, it was more of a feud. Hey, I respect you, but I got to beat you. And then AJ pissed Cody off, and then it got personal. And then Cody's about to bash AJ's head in with some ring steps, and AJ said, I quit, feud over.
Yeah.
But it didn't really get more involved than that.
Yeah. It was a feud without a story. Yeah.
So if this is going to be the extent to which they're trying to flesh out the feud, But if they want to give us a story where, there's twists and turns and we get a more fully formed reason why Seth right now wants to beat up CM Punk. That right now he does not want CM Punk, as Seth views it, his company. Then yeah, give me that.
Mm-hmm.
But stuff that happens 10 years ago, I get it. That's something that can motivate his point of view, but it can't be it.
Yeah, it's very much like Excalibur speed running somebody's history in a different company.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I don't
just
need
it
that.
feels
I don't
this
need that
kind of
here.
I don't know, shallow. Give me something more.
Yeah. If Seth literally just said, you know what, I got all these issues with him, yeah, back then, but God, he just shows up, acts like his shit doesn't stink, and he has that condescending tone half the time. I just want to punch him in the face. It probably feels so good. I watched Drew McIntyre and I got jealous. You know, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and then he teamed with Roman Reigns, and now I
Yeah,
really want to beat him up.
yeah.
Like give us something. He hit me at the GTS when I was a guest ref,
Let me
uncalled
ask.
for.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
What?
Who's had the better career?
I mean, Seth Rollins did main event WrestleMania. You could say twice.
He did twice. He did twice. Night one this year and at 31. He did. He did that 2 times.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny because this was a question I was also talking about.
If you look at the individual accolades, they're probably
on
roughly
par.
Even.
Yeah. That being said, who's the more iconic name?
Oh, I mean CM Punk.
It's easily Punk.
Right now, yeah. Seth has a lot of career ahead of him still. Could that change? Maybe. But right now, yeah, you'd say who is if we were doing the going in raw math on each of them, Punk's would probably be higher.
At this point in Punk's career, the age he was that Seth Rollins is out now, wasn't that around the time? Punk's got basically like 10 years on Seth, right? I think Seth's like 38 and Punk is 46. Is my age, yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point is when CM Punk left WWE. By the time CM Punk left WWE, he had already built that iconic name for himself. And then him being gone for 7 years or whatever it was before AEW, his legend just grew and grew because he wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
And it just grew and grew and grew. So he does have, and on top of that, I think at the end of the day, and I think, dude, look, Seth Rollins he's got easily an all-timer career. I mean, not all-timer, but like he's up there, right? Like
got
that's
a Hall of Fame career, yeah.
He's got easily.
Right now, he could retire right now, yeah. First ballot Hall of Fame.
And it would be huge. But CM Punk is also, like, to this day, one of the more influential. How many indie shows have we been to where dudes just obviously are taken from or inspired by or paying homage to CM Punk? Mm-hmm. This dude is one of the most, if not the most influential wrestler. Like it's kind of like Flair, HBK, CM Punk. If you think about like the influence that he has on the industry from when he was young, like in the mid to late aughts. On to the future, like a ton, so much influence this guy has in terms of people wanting to replicate what he did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Including apparently Seth Rollins.
Yeah, at 16 years old.
So this kind of story had a bit of a crossover with Sami's story with the Drew McIntyre. We'll get to that in a second because Sami interrupts Seth's promo here. Before that, though, let's talk about what Drew had to say in a promo of his own.
Ooh, I like this. This was good.
It was good. So it's just one of those pre-filmed things. It was pretty dramatically lit. And he said, Hell in the Cell was the most violent match of my career. In the end, I succumbed to severe blood loss. I could have been at Raw the night after, but against doctor's orders, I proved time and time again the Scottish Warrior isn't a nickname. But I needed to go back home to Scotland. My family needed me. 2024 was a career year, but I kept getting screwed at the finish line. He says, when I was home, a thought was burned into my brain. What if I'm wrong? What if people can change? Then I turned on Survivor Series and saw Roman Reigns standing beside CM Punk. Who was beside them? Sami, Jay, Jimmy. After everything they know, Roman snaps his fingers, and they all have their tail between their legs. At least Punk took a bribe. That's when I knew I had to come back and take out Sami and take out Jay. I can't change the past, but I can change the present, and I will change the future. So there's his admission. He attacked Jay last week, as suspected. We get an update on Jay, not medically cleared. And then back to Seth's promo. Sami interrupts.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth says to him, if you're out here to defend Punk, we're fighting again. I ain't got no time.
And he's got, by the way, Sami's got that look on his face.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that. Oh, I'm about to do some finger wagging.
Yep. So he says, last week we said some nasty stuff. We even thought, but that's bound to happen. We've known each other for so long. But it was wrong of me to assume that it was you who dropped Jey Uso. It was wrong of me to think that, and for that, I am sorry. Seth says, I'm glad you brought it up because the thing that eats me up is we've been friends for 20 years. Our kids play together, but when Jey went down, I was the first person who came to mind. I want to know why. Sami says, well, the way you were talking last week, you were out of your mind. You weren't the Seth I've known for 20 years. You were talking like the kind of person that points their finger at everyone else and acts like they're the only one with moral clarity around here. You were less Seth Rollins and more like Drew McIntyre. I thought he was going to say more like CM Punk.
Yeah. Can we pause here for a second?
Sure.
What the hell is this shit? He's like, hey, Larson, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I accused you of something you didn't do. And you're like, hey, dude, I've known you for 30 years now.
Yeah. Why?
Why would you think that I would think that? Because you were talking like an asshole. So I figured you were being an asshole. What? Like, what the hell, man? Like, Seth wasn't even out of pocket last week. That's all. Sami, within character, because Sami, the person, whatever his real name is, fucking awesome 10 out of 10 guy. The charity shit that he does. So I'm talking strictly within character.
The character
the
of
writing.
Zayn, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
What an asshole. Like, dude, I was like, what? Get out of here with it. I was hoping Seth would be like, dude, fuck you, and then drop him with a stomp or something. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah. So again, but instead, Seth says, I am not Drew McIntyre. And Sami says, you're not. You're better than him, a better person than him. But this thing with Punk brings out the worst in you. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten involved. I just saw a guy I knew forever and a guy who I just went to war with. You were fighting, and maybe I shouldn't have gotten involved. This is worse than I thought possible. However you want to deal with it, deal with it the way you want to. It's all you, man.
Mm-hmm.
So Seth says, thank you. I appreciate you want me to handle my business the way I see fit. And Sami says, are we good? And Seth says, yeah, we're good. I appreciate you letting me handle my business. It seems like you have some business with Drew you need to handle. So Seth leaves. And Sami says, good advice, and I'll handle it. The thing with Drew, I won't run it back like he did before. Coming out week after week. Now that he's a martyr, I'm ending this as quickly as it started. I spoke to Adam Pearce. We got a match at Saturday Night Main Event. So when Sami goes up the ramp, it stops at like right before the stage. He's looking around. He's expecting Drew to attack him.
And he does.
And then Drew runs out right the direction Sami at that moment is looking and lays him out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 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 I don't know about this being like Saturday night's main event. There were 4 matches scheduled. Now there's a 5th one. I think it's a 2-hour runtime, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I looked at that. So, I know on Peacock in between matches, there's like 15 minutes of bullshit. So they're probably not going to have that.
Well, it's also aired on NBC, right? So it might not have as many commercial breaks.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think it's going to be, yeah. So that'll be a nice change of pace. As far as I know right now, there's only one women's match on the card, right?
Yeah, it's Liv and Io.
It's
the women's U.S. title finals is on the card.
Oh, that's there too. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, this is Drew's return match. He's got to win this, right?
You'd think so, but the go-home math obviously favors Sami.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Dude, I kind of want Sami just to get his head claymored off like 5 times.
Yeah.
Like just bell rings, Claymore, stands him up, Claymore, stands him up, Claymore. Maybe he ducks one, but then he gets another Claymore. All right. Goes for a haluva kick. Instead, he gets the haluva kick Claymored.
There you go. The foot of the haluva kick.
The foot is Claymored.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm still upset we never saw Gunther repel a Claymore via chop.
Via chop. I know. Well, maybe one day. Maybe we'll get there.
We could hope. I know Gunther chopped a foot before, but we never saw him actually repel a move like the Claymore.
I think he ended Riddle's career by chopping his foot. Speaking of Gunther, now that match at Saturday night's main event, my obsession, is going to be a triple threat.
I don't know why that needs to be the case.
Oh, I get it. I kind of felt like we saw this coming because Priest got screwed twice by Finn.
Yeah.
Gunther. The Gunther verse right now is so out of whack. Cause like, I don't know. He's, I guess, like I guess, a tweener now, right? Like
He
he's
is.
just sort of
He didn't wear a suit. He had jeans on last night. It's the first time he's seen Gunther in jeans.
This is the most dad-looking champion.
Yeah.
I've seen. This guy looks
super
like
relatable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just run down what happened here. So Raw actually kicked off with Gunther coming down. Super cash. He says, everybody has seen Finn Balor's made a grave mistake. And whether he deserves it or not, he has my attention. Saturday night's main event will not end up like Survivor Series for me. And then Finn comes down with Judgment Day. And he's like, you could have given me the match, but instead you want to mess with me and give it to somebody who didn't deserve it, who didn't earn it, like Dom. Dom doesn't even really react to that, though, which was kind of interesting.
He kind of does a little slight.
But if it was there, it was barely there, because I was paying it. I was like, oh, is he going to do something? And he, like, I don't know, might have moved his head to the side a little bit, but
yeah, it was a pretty subtle reaction.
There was not a lot there. They're really kind of shutting down Dom these days, and I'm kind of curious as to why.
Well, that's until he moves over to SmackDown, then he's going to be.
Yeah, it could be.
Featured.
He says, let's be real. I'm the only reason you're champion, and I just heard what you said. You're right about Saturday night's main event. You retained at Survivor Series because of me, and on Saturday you lose it because of me after 8 long years. Finn Balor walks out the new heavyweight champion. Gunther says, let me set one thing straight. You did not earn the match. He says, your audacity for claiming responsibility for me being champion earned that match. Audacity, #1 contender. He says, I get it. You're frustrated. 8 years ago, you became the first Universal Champion, and I looked up to you and I respected you. But over time, that respect faded away, not because I chose to, but because you started cutting corners, taking shortcuts, aligning yourself with Judgment Day, and hanging out with a bunch of weirdos in a clubhouse, and you chose to play second fiddle to Damian Priest.
Why do you not say street trash during this entire time?
I don't know. Again, I feel like they're kind of not I feel like Gunther's not entirely sure where he's supposed to take this character.
Yeah.
It's like they need something definitive for this guy.
Yeah.
He says, so here we are standing across with no respect left. So I'm figuratively and literally looking down on you. And you hear Carlito say, well, yeah, because you're in the ring. He says, 8 years ago, you were the best in the world for one night. And the crowd started to come around to Gunther when he started getting loud. He says, I'm the best in the world right now for thousands of days to come, and this title proves it. He says, there's one reason you won't leave on champion on Saturday. You're not on my level, and you never will be. So Judgment Day decide enough talking. They get on the apron. Priest's music hits. He comes down, wipes out Judgment Day, goes after Finn. Finn rolled in the ring. Gunther chops him down. Priest hits a super kick. Gunther lariats Priest, lays into him. Gunther clears off the table. Finn hits him with a sling blade. Eventually, Finn hits Priest with, like, I don't know what, 5 coup de grace? Yeah, something like that, like a ton of them.
With his tag title.
So, yeah, he holds up both of them. So, later on, backstage, Judgment Day celebrating all the coup de grace. Because, of course, when you listen to Finn, you win. And Pierce walks up. He says, I got to hand it to you. Another Monday and you're causing chaos. He says, I'm not here to yell at you, though. As a courtesy to you, I spoke to Gunther. Due to all the actions that you guys did, the World Heavyweight Championship match has been changed. It'll be Finn Balor versus Gunther versus Damian Priest. Finn says, fine. It'll make it even more satisfying when I beat both men and become World Heavyweight Champion. And Pierce says, speaking of titles, I'll let you lead by example. Next week, you and JD face the War Raiders for the tag titles, and the rest of Judgment Day are banned from ringside. Liv takes a little bit of satisfaction in this after Pierce leaves. She says, relax, you got everything under control, but I was wondering if you had any advice for me and Raquel for our match, because we want to listen to Finn so we win. And he says, you know what, sis, let me get back to you on that, because he's all out of sorts. He walks off. JD follows him. Carlito doesn't know what to do with his hands.
Well, I think it doesn't. Carlito literally take a step forward and stops himself.
Yeah, he's like, do
JD
I stay here? Do I go with them? Do I stay here? Yeah. Do I go with them?
No one told me how the scene was going to be blocked. That's probably what he thought. Let's talk about the EO Liv Morgan feud ahead of Saturday Night Main Event. So Dakota Kai, she's in Damage Control with EO.
She is, correct.
Takes on Liv Morgan. Liv gets the win after hitting an Oblivion. Because Pure Fusion Collective decides to come down and interfere.
Yes.
So Sonya gets on the apron. Dakota tries to hit her with a boot, misses. Oblivion from Liv. Liv wins. So then Pure Fusion Collective attacks Dakota Afterwards, Damage Control runs down to make the save. Kyrie wipes out basically everybody ringside with a crossbody off the top, but then Liv hits Io with Oblivion, stands over her. It's not the end of the go home math because in the main event had a really fun anything goes match between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Io came out during this match too because Liv came to ringside as well. She hits Liv with a drop kick, then a suicide dive. The finish saw Rhea escape a Tahana bomb and then hit a riptide through the table to get the win. And afterwards, Rhea and Io both grab the belt at the same time.
You know, ever since Damage Control went good guy, Io's been getting tremendous reactions.
Yep.
What do you make of that last scene between Rhea and Io both holding the title? I know, obviously, or I think that Liv is going to retain, probably through cheating methods at Saturday night's main event. Triple H has always been a big Io fan, but I kind of figured that her days as like a world challenger, a world title, a serious world title contender, somebody who I'm like, oh, wow, I think they might actually put the title on her, might have been in her past. She already had the world title. Bayley got it off her.
Yeah.
Her popularity is gaining week to week.
Yeah.
Do you see momentum in her favor to potentially have another world title run in 2025?
About 2025, but yeah, I don't think she's necessarily. I don't think she's out of the world title run window yet. Far from it, in fact, because as you mentioned, she's gaining a ton of popularity, and if that continues to be the case, maybe it's not on Raw. Maybe in this transfer window, she'll move to SmackDown and get the title picture there. I don't know, but yeah, she's a tremendous wrestler.
She's one of the best they have.
Yeah, she's so good. The crowd loves her.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could say, no, I think, her days of being a world title contender in the past. Absolutely not. No, I think she's still going to be in the mix going forward. Absolutely.
I want to see her with a face run as a champ. Yeah. Because especially I think War Games was really something that like people looked at. Obviously she does the cool shit with the garbage can and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's always the little things. She's so much fun. And now that she's a good guy, she sort of busts out more good guy stuff, like doing all the fucking flips and stuff.
Oh, it's the double kip up.
Yeah.
That is crazy. When
she does it's that. Awesome. It's amazing.
And she makes it look so effortless.
Yeah. Speaking of effortless, Dakota Kai coming back with like seemingly brand new knees. Looks absolutely phenomenal in the ring. Mm-hmm. So that was cool to see as well. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to Io's face run here. Yeah. And I was really happy to see that little face off with Rhea Ripley because, and I've seen this sentiment echoed. The Rhea Liv stuff, is there any chance they blow this off prior to Mania?
I suppose it's possible, but it's like been the A story on the Raw Women's division for 8 months.
They really should. They should blow it off before WrestleMania. It is. And there's still, like I said, 5 months before WrestleMania. It's damn near half a year before WrestleMania. I really feel that like the Rumble at the latest needs to be when Rhea gets the title back. Because that's where it's going to end. Is Rhea getting the title off Liv.
Yeah.
And I think, or maybe it'd be Raw on Netflix. That's less than a month away. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she did the Raquel. That was going to be at the pay-per-view. She did the Raquel thing. They gave him 8 minutes of TV time. Like this match was a 10-minute match. 2 minutes of it was commercials.
Yeah.
They made the most of it because they had the overbooking at the end, but they did a ton of awesome stuff. Just a ton. The sense of urgency was there. Just a lot of really, really great stuff here. And of course Rhea comes out of it. But yeah, interesting to see how Io fits. They do having, especially now with Io, and it's a perfect time to introduce this, the Intercontinental Championship on Raw and the U.S. title on SmackDown. But, the fact that they're building up more and more people, and plus, I don't know what they're going to do when they offload some of the NXT women's division because there's a lot of talent there. So I don't know. It'll just be interesting between, everybody on SmackDown and that A scene. Is a title contender. Mm-hmm. And then you got a couple more here on Raw. It'll be interesting if they do shake it up with the transfer portal at all.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Let's talk about the Final Testament. And a bit of an upset, I would say, beating the Wyatt Six with Karrion Kross pinning Uncle Howdy.
I was so excited to see this. I mean, it
Oh, me
just
too.
means I think when they do the singles, that it's going to go the other way. But man, they. I know I'm late to this because I've seen this sentiment, and I thought that the sentiment that I saw was a little on the early side, but I'm there with them now. People who say that they are fumbling the Wyatt Six. There was so much promise there, and maybe there's an element of they're doing this according to the comfortability of Bo Dallas, because we don't know what his personal life is like in terms of still dealing with the tragedy of his brother's death, right? So maybe he can't be there every single week. That's not ground that I really want to speculate on. That being said, with the Wyatt Six stuff, they need to give us more. If he's available, they need to be giving us more, because holding him back as long as they have, it's just sort of like, okay, well, you're not doing much with them. The flip side of that is I love the Final Testament right now. Kross is awesome. I was so happy to see him get this win.
Yeah. So Paul Ellering comes back, throws powder in Uncle Howdy's face. Kross hits him with his finisher to get the win. Going back to Wyatt Six, there was so much potential for interesting stories to be told.
Absolutely.
And then after they got through with the story with Chad Gable, I kind of realized, especially when Chad Gable did not change coming out of that, he was the same exact character. All right, a lot of the hopes I had for the Wyatt Six was seemingly merely fantasy booking on my part, because it seemed like they were positioned to be essentially agents of change for characters who the Wyatt Six saw as betraying their WWE families. And then you had Gable, who obviously did that with American Alpha, come out of the feud. He took an L, but there is no self-reflection for Chad Gable. There's no change. He's the same character. And so it seems like they're going to use that as to simply motivate feuds, but not necessarily have the whoever Wyatt Six is facing change or reflect or have any seemingly impact on their characters moving forward, which I think is a huge missed opportunity.
Well, Maggie had it here. She says they were supposed to be doing what Kross is actually doing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about that is that I agree with you. And I think that there should, whenever they do something, there should be some change in the person that they're affecting. But I'll even go in a more broad sense. Even if they don't do that, and it's just straight up like feuds and stuff, like wrestling stuff, Bo Dallas, in the few bits we've seen with him as an on-screen character without the mask, is one of the most captivating guys they have. He's got the presence of his brother. He really does. Yeah. He's got the performance aspect of it. He's got the charisma. He's got the camera loves his face. And I want more of his lore. Like remember our jaws dropped when Adam Pearce opens his office and Bo's and oh, fuck. What is that?
Yeah,
like
that could have been something.
His presence can be heavy. But you got to put him on TV.
Yeah.
For me, it's as simple as that. It's like what you're asking for makes all the sense in the world. I just want to see the damn guy, So yeah, I hope that they find a way to get him on TV more, because God, and we see plenty of Kross, and they finally are starting to nail Kross, and he's great.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's awesome. So it was great to see that rewarded, and Ellering coming back with the powder stuff. That's so old school.
Oh yeah.
And Kross getting that pin. I was really excited to see that.
Same. Finally here, the women's Intercontinental title continued. We had a triple threat match. Ivy Niles, Zelina Vega, Lyra Valkyria. Winner advances. Lyra Valkyria, not a huge surprise. She might win this whole thing.
Yeah.
Won the match. Hits Ivy Nile with a Nightwing to get the win. The crowd loves doing the whoop thing to her theme. So,
is that like a new thing? Have I
No,
not?
it's been happening for a while.
That okay? That has
I
been.
think
Okay.
it's from NXT they were doing that.
Okay, I really didn't pay too close attention. She is a phenomenal in-ring talent. It's just
She is
the
really,
whole
really good.
the character aspect is like kind of give or take, but goddamn, she's so good in the ring. Yeah, I think I called a while ago that she'd probably be a perfect first Intercontinental champion. However, Zelina has got like more seniority. She's super popular, so I was kind of curious if they were going to go in that direction. What does the field look like now? I know Raquel is in a match that could potentially put her in with Dakota Kai, and given their history, that's a possibility, and I think maybe even a likely one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the and on the other side of things, I think there's a triple threat that hasn't happened yet.
So yeah, Dakota advanced in her match, and then I would assume maybe next week Zoe, Raquel, Caden Carter.
So yeah, that's got to be Raquel.
But then again, you had Pure Fusion Collective interfering in Dakota's match last night, so maybe Zoe wins that one.
Right? Yeah.
And then the other quarterfinal match, Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, and Natalia.
So the best match on the other side is Zoe and Dakota, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best actual match, and maybe that's what they're going for.
Could be.
I mean, because Dakota's, yeah. I mean, if that seemed the first two, Dakota and Lyra, they're the best wrestlers out of the pack.
Yeah. So I guess with that in mind, the other quarterfinal match with Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, and Natalia, I mean, they're all really good wrestlers.
That's a wash. It doesn't matter who comes out of that. Banger ass.
I mean,
semifinal match.
I would think Lyra's a face, so maybe Alba wins that because she's.
They did. No, you know what? They did. They did a thing on the digital thing where the Unholy Union talk some shit to Lyra.
All right, there you go. Alba
so
Fire,
that's
then.
probably going to be the thing. Who's the other person in that match?
It's Kairi and Natalia.
Kairi's a good guy, and Natalia's a good guy, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good
So
one. There's going to be two really good semifinal matches.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Lyra and Alba, and then on one side, then Zoe and Dakota.
Yeah, those are going to, if they give them like 20 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, probably closer to 15 or 12. But boy, those are going to be good matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then whatever the final's going to be is going to be good too.
Maybe they'll do Dakota versus Lyra for the final.
Ooh, good guy versus good guy? Yeah. I could see that.
I could totally
the
philosophy of this tournament in particular is just, let's just put on the best matches.
It seems like that might be the direction they're going, yeah. That could be. Oh, whoa. That's it?
That was the show.
Oh, wow. No more Raw.
2 hours, man. It's brisk Raw.
Brisk Raw. That's brisk, baby. All right, man. Well, you know what? We still have to answer some questions here.
We do. Let's see. Nate Cruz says, pick any song to be the New Day's heel theme. Chorus of Booze, man.
Oh, you just want that? You just want...
Yeah,
what if it's a lame crowd, though? What if it's a lame... Then it's just quiet.
Silence.
Yeah.
That could be a kind of awkward in its own right. And then pipe in Chorus of Booze.
Oh, that's what... That'd be kind of funny, actually. I would do this. Slow down the New Day theme. It's a new day, yes, and then maybe reverse it. Yeah, that's good. No, you know what they should do? Oh my God, you know what they should do?
What?
Big E's theme.
Oh my God.
Oh, ouch. Oof. Oh, tell me that's not perfect.
Oof.
Tell me that's not perfect.
Heat.
Ooh. That'd be rough. You
got a question over there?
Yep. Odd Breakfast is already looking to the future. Says the New Day sucks chant had me reliving 2015 all over again. How long before the New Day become the biggest baby faces in the company again?
Well, how long were they heels the first time around? A couple of years?
A couple of years, yeah. I'm going to say 2027.
All right.
Triple H takes his sweet time with everything.
Yeah, definitely does. Jack Napier.
Anonymous tip.
Is the New Day now number one heels in WWE?
Well, by crowd reaction, yeah.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
crowd reaction,
Right
absolutely.
now. Yeah, by crowd reaction. I'm sure in terms of the internal, roster they have divided up into heels, faces, and I imagine there's, tiered or whatever. Like Drew McIntyre's probably up there.
What about
Solo, Bad
by
Bloodline's probably high up
by
there.
division?
Oh, the tag division. Yeah, New Day's got to be number one heel. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Let's see here. Okay. Here's one. Here's a curveball for you. My spirit animal is a Dorito says, "Who is your favorite actor versus which actor is in the majority of your favorite movies?"
Interesting. I don't know if I have a favorite actor.
Mine is probably Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's really good.
But there's historically speaking, I don't gravitate towards movies because there's a particular actor in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not, if some people are like, Tom Cruise in this movie, I have to go see it. I've never been that way.
Okay, well, but you do have but certain directors that are your favorite directors have
But say yes, if someone whose work I really like, usually directors or exclusively directors, have a new movie, then yes, I will endeavor to go see that. But it's never really been that case.
No, I'm not saying you're interrupting me though.
Sorry.
Certain directors that I know you really like have players that they go to usually. And so, for example, I feel like John C. Reilly is in a lot of movies that I really, really like.
Robert De Niro is probably in a lot of movies I really, really like because I like a lot of Scorsese movies.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Yeah, exactly.
Taxi Driver.
For that matter,
Goodfellas.
these days, Leo.
Yeah. Taxi Driver and Goodfellas are both probably in my top 10.
Right. Yeah. Godfather 2. It's probably going to be
Godfather 2.
Yeah. So De Niro. But that's like, it's not like I'm not going to go see any De Niro movie.
No, I'm not going to see it. Just because De Niro's in it, I'm not going to go see it. No,
right.
Exactly. I've never really been that way. No.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Yeah, John C. Reilly's might be up there for me. Like I would, if I see an interesting John C. Reilly clip, I might go out of my way to go see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are certain actors who I'm like, oh, I might watch that just because they're.
I'll say this: actors who are willing to take some risks in terms of the roles they take, I find more interesting than people who generally just do
play
more
themselves.
of the larger Hollywood type movies. Yeah.
Or they just sort of like. They're just playing themselves.
Yeah.
They don't go into it's like, oh, you're just going to get this thing,
Like I really appreciate, say, Colin Farrell's work in the movies I've seen of his.
Oh,
but
sure.
But just because even going back to like Tigerland, which is one of his first movies, which is a good movie. He's awesome.
Really good movie, yeah.
But I didn't go see Phone Booth because Colin Farrell was in it,
Why did you go see Phone Booth?
Probably because it was in theaters, and at that point, we just went and saw movies because that's what
you were fascinated by the concept of a phone booth being
a whole movie inside a phone booth.
An entire movie in a phone booth.
Yeah. But like Colin Farrell in The Lobster, in Penguin.
Oh my God, he's so good in Penguin.
So good in Penguin. Like he. Whenever I see a movie that he's in, I didn't see that one that was nominated for all the Oscars. The one you saw. Was it set in Ireland?
Oh,
right?
Yeah. I always something intermission.
Yeah. I never saw that one.
Yeah, it's a really good. You would. Oh, dude, you would love that movie. You would it's because it's hilarious and it's also really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a really good one.
Anyways,
Gleason, the other guys, not
Brendan. Not Brendan.
This Dommel.
No,
Dommel's a kid, isn't he?
Dommel's the
Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, Dommel is the younger.
He's the son.
One that's in Star Wars.
Yeah. Forget the dad's name.
Yeah, I think it's Brendan.
Let's see. Static G Medina says, what stipulation would you add to the CM Punk Seth feud? Oh, he says, what about a number one contender match to face Gunther in January? Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. It's got to motivate. Yeah, because what did Punk say?
It's Seth? A lose my phone number match.
You had something I wanted at the time. That's why I was willing to face you then. But now you got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, something's got to be on the line.
Brendan Gleeson. You're right.
Brendan Gleeson.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorman says, would there be any point to giving Finn the title now? No, because you want to put a stinker end to Gunther's already kind of lackluster title reign.
Well, here's another thing: is that if Finn won the title, then this Finn Damian Priest feud would go on for so much longer.
It would be yeah, right, yeah.
Oddly enough, there's not a whole lot of Patreon questions. So,
Aaron says, "Do you think the New Day heel turn leads us to a Woods singles title run?"
I hope so.
I hope so too. Javier says, "Early Mania predictions for John Cena."
You know, if Gunther's still champion, I would not be surprised if it's Cena Gunther.
Yeah, I could see that.
Or if there's no Rock, Cody Cena wouldn't surprise me either.
Joe the Meme Maker, which current champion do you see still being champion 365 days from now? Cody is a possibility. I would say Cody number 1, Nia number 2. No, not Nia because they got Tiffany out there.
I think Cody is the only possibility, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're not booking Gunther right now like someone who's going to have the belt for 3 years, you know?
No, they're not. That dude was wearing jeans yesterday, man. Okay. Oh, here we go. Snowman has an interesting take on what we've already talked about. He says, you guys always talk about heels with good points. What about faces with heel points? Like Sami, Cody, and Punk have had kind of heelish promos, but they're supposed to be good guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Triple H is blurring the lines. Good guys, bad guys, or whatever.
So there's heels with good points and faces with bad points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the new thing. There you go.
There you go. Complexity.
All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Of course, tomorrow we've got our Hot Takes video. We're going to do that as a premiere on YouTube. I might actually premiere that on Twitch as well while it's going on if I can sit here and figure all that out. So we'll do that. And then, of course, on Thursday, we'll be back with our AEW/NXT Super Review. And on Friday, we'll have Count Out, no SmackDown. We'll cover SmackDown on the Saturday Night's Main Event review. Mm-hmm. We'll be doing that live as well. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time. Oh, hold on a second. I got somebody entering my frame here. You're going to come? You can come over here. You can come here. Okay.
See, the cat heard what you had to say earlier, and now.
Yeah, here, I can just move the camera over there. There she is. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Bye.
Just going behind my monitor.